Hi everyone, I'm Sophia Ellis. Welcome to my kitchen. This is where I take all of my calls. It looks like I'm about to do a cooking show, but I'm about to bring you guys through a presentation I created on how to use social marketing to enhance your digital marketing strategy overall. So a little bit about my background first. I started as a ghostwriter when I was 17 years old, so 5 years ago today. Today is my 23rd birthday. And I wrote my first Amazon bestseller. And right then and there, I decided that my passion was using my talent to help entrepreneurs and startups take their idea and make it their livelihood. And so I started to learn more about marketing, more on the technical side. So SEO, managing campaigns, managing budgets, things that are more number oriented. And then I realized that the creative side is equally, if not more important. And so I became a developer and designer as well. So I can control the whole process from start to finish. And now that's just what my company does. So we help entrepreneurs and startups build a long-term growth strategy from start to finish and execute it. So I handle everything from web development to sales and marketing strategy, email marketing, campaigns, SEO, paid, social ads, of course, social media marketing, and all the design that comes along with that. And I have learned a lot after working with companies in 6 countries and 6 languages now. I have made a lot of mistakes and I've learned a lot of tips and tricks around social in particular that I think it's really kind of a trial and error type situation with social media because things are changing all the time. And so there's little tricks that you learn that aren't necessarily utilized by others or taught anywhere formally. And so it's really kind of a fun guerrilla kind of field to be a part of. And that is sort of my forte, I guess you could say, is growth hacking. So my favorite thing is when a client comes to me and says, hey, we want to, reach these goals, but we have a $0 marketing budget. I feel like everyone has a $0 marketing budget. And so my favorite thing is to find those little niche ways that we can reach the target audience better than the competitor who's paying thousands of dollars into paid advertising. We can communicate a stronger message to the target audience to make sure these little guys, smart startups and entrepreneurs win. And there's so much room for that in social media people don't realize. There's so much opportunity for smaller players to win if they look at the strategy differently than the bigger players. And so that's really what I want to address in this is a lot of the little details and the little things that we're kind of overall getting wrong with social media. I think I always get this one thing with clients. So a new client will always come to me and they'll say, yeah, I hired a digital agency and they took my money and they went through the checklist of social media things and nothing really happened. There was no real value in the end. There was no real conversion. Nothing really came of all this social media. And it's become kind of a formality thing. Everyone's like, oh, well, you have to have this, this, and this. But there's no real thought behind it. And so I think there's just so much more to be done with social media if you really look at it beyond just what we've been doing. And so I really want to address that. So let me get to my presentation. I'm going to share my screen with you guys really quick. Share a screen. Okay. Here it is. Okay. Let me line this up so you guys can see me and the presentation. Okay, so like I said, how to turn social media into real value, not just likes and followers and ghost followers and dumping money into paid campaigns, but like actually getting people that are interested in your product to your site to then buy your product. There's something we're missing in a lot of the social media world, and it's such an effective tool and it brings so much power back to small businesses and individuals. So I really wanted to take advantage of that. So the biggest thing, and like first and foremost always, is you need to know and match your target audience. And this is difficult when a lot of companies think they know their target audience or have a general idea, but you really need to be a lot more specific than that in the world of social media because it is so broad. And you want to get as niche and specific as you possibly can because that's where you're really going to drill down and get to those customers that are going to convert quickly and really be excited about your product. So one little exercise that I do with clients to kind of figure out who those target audiences are, oftentimes there are multiple ones that you can go after, is to have them do this. I ask them to think about their top customer. So for me, as a service, company, it would be, okay, who is my top client? Like the client I absolutely would love to have 10 of, loves my value proposition, works well with me, I fit their needs perfectly and I can provide for them and we work out well together. Like who is that top client? Like who is the best customer that you always sell to very quickly for your product? Now think about that person and then think about how they found you or how you found them. This is what you want to do with social media. You want to make that scalable. How can you make that interaction happen more often using social media? That's what you want to keep in mind when you are going to be targeting via social media. Is always looking for that top customer in the social world, not just anybody, because just anybody is going to be pointless traffic. And you don't want that. You don't want to waste your time on that. You really want to focus on building a wider network of your target audience to reach out to, so you're not spending money and time that you don't have to on social media. So with that, please do not waste your time doing social just to do social media stuff. I feel like there's this weird formality around social media now where everyone just thinks they have to be on every platform possible, which it's great to, be present on every platform, but not everybody needs to be spending an insane amount of time on every platform. There are definitely, the right platform for you and specific niches for your company and your value proposition that you need to focus on if you're going to really make it efficient for you. Like, for example, with tech companies, I have never gone on Instagram looking to see what Microsoft is posting on Instagram. No one cares. Like, really look where your target audience is engaging about, your industry, your topic, and stick your energy there. Put all of your time and effort there. Yes, have a presence on all platforms. That is totally fine. Be where people will expect you to be, but definitely look to focus on where you're going to make the biggest impact and get the most engagement that matters. So if you are in tech, maybe Instagram is not your thing. Maybe, reaching out on Reddit or some forums that are more niche and specific to your exact area is better. That really takes, again, knowing your target audience. You have to, before you start any of this, know your target audience well enough to know where they're hanging out online to really reach them properly. So with that, again, with doing social just to do social, your social media page should not be just this entity where you just post random things and hope it works out. And, people are kind of liking and clicking here and there because you post cool photos or something, but it should be the little sample and the teaser to the greater prize, which is whatever is on your website. And this is a big part of why I like to take over the whole marketing process for my clients. Is I like to control what amazing content we're building on the website and match it with the social media, because that's how it should be. Your client should see your social media and say, oh my gosh, I want to see more. And they should click through to your site. They should not hang out on your page and then not care about your site, because then you're building up nothing. And we've seen this before. There are plenty of people on Instagram or on Facebook who have thousands of followers or whatever, but they're not making any money. There's no real conversion. Their website is kind of just there, but their social's going great because they've been constantly pumping out content that isn't really relevant onto social media. So definitely make sure your strategy is a funnel, moving people from, social media down to your website and directly to your call to actions, so that you're not just another entity with a nicely kind of followed social page. That's not what the goal is. The goal is to make it easier to communicate with your target customer. And so you should definitely, have value behind your content. And that's how you do that, is when people know that when they see a post by you, there's something amazing else that they're going to find. And so having a solid content strategy is the key to making that whole flow work. And so again, number one always with the content strategy is knowing your audience. Because when you know who your target audience is, you can then look up and kind of narrow down the keywords they're researching, knowing exactly what they're looking for online, what their problems are, what their biggest questions are, what their biggest interests are, and then you can create a whole world of content around that. And then you can then share on social to help further drive that target audience into your website. So really, to do that well for social media particularly, you need to have a consistent content calendar. So once you figure out who your target audience is and what they're researching, build a content calendar around that. But then you can then use that content as the base for your whole posts. And this will be really easy once you have your content calendar down. Social media won't nearly feel as much of a chore of just posting every so often. It will really feel calculated and clear, and your target audience will recognize that. You will look more authoritative when you have a layout like this, when they can expect more from you than just a post or a quote or an image. There's more behind the content. You have like a real value behind it. People will notice that, and that will grow. But the only way to do that is to start with a strong content strategy, delivering valuable, interesting content to your target audience from the beginning. And this helps you avoid the meaningless traffic. So when you have, thousands of followers, but you're like, how am I not selling? How is no one coming to my website? You've probably missed something along the way here. You're not communicating with the right people in the right way. And so to avoid that, have it from the very beginning and understand who you're trying to speak to from the very beginning. So again, not only with being consistent with what's on your website and what you're producing content-wise, social media is still very much a visual game, like entirely visual. You really want to be consistent about your look as well. And we all do this. You scroll through Instagram, you scroll through Facebook, and you know what catches your attention. You know what kind of posts look good to you. They have a certain, aesthetic that you like, and you expect that from those accounts. And so to start that, when you first start your social media and have people kind of, expecting a certain look or a certain tone or a certain sound from you, it gives you a brand and identity outside of just another account or another business account. You have something interesting that they can expect from you. And if you deliver it consistently, it'll grow a really strong following that's actually engaging with your content. So, pick something that has a unique look for you. Maybe you use the same filter with every photo. Maybe you have a certain layout for photos that you use on Facebook or LinkedIn. Maybe you have a certain tone. Maybe you're casual. Maybe you're funny. Maybe you're always funny. Maybe you use one really quick, powerful quote from an article directly with a link. Maybe you write a quick teaser for your article directly with a link back to your site. Whatever it may be, people should know what to expect from you in terms of your posts. And you should be consistent about delivering that as well, because we all like consistency and we do not like change. And you can see it when you open up someone's Instagram or Facebook or whatever it may be, and the posts don't seem to match. We're kind of turned off in our head a little bit because we like symmetry. We like things to look nice. And definitely always you want to make personal a part of your strategy. Like this is something that is hard to click for brands with social media. You are still, even though you're a brand or company, communicating with an individual. Like there's still just one person behind the screen. It's not like the whole, company or C-suite is sitting behind one screen looking at your post. That is one person with one phone or one laptop looking at your post. Are you communicating and reaching them on a personal level? Are they feeling enough to want to click through to your site? Are they inspired enough? Are they interested enough? Have you answered their question or solved a solution or whatever it may be to get them to actually engage? And so always keeping in mind that yes, even if you're doing B2B or whatever it may be, it could be formal or more corporate, it still has to have a personal element, because at the end of the day, social media is just people talking to people on a mass scale. So a couple of accounts I want to show you guys that I think did a really nice job at the whole visual thing. I picked Instagram for this just because it's really easy to look at it from a distance on this webcam. But I mean, there's plenty of accounts that do very well on other platforms as well. So we've got like a young millennials kind of women's empowerment group, and then we've got this young financial advisor, and they both have nailed sort of this overall look. Like, you would open these pages, you'd be like, oh my gosh, they have it together. Look at the design. You know what to expect from these accounts. You know exactly what to expect, and you want to see more because they're visually attractive. That is always going to be key, because you don't have a lot of time, especially with people just clicking through social media in their spare time. They're not going to dedicate more than 2 seconds on their feed to looking at your, probably less than that, at your post. So you have to be visually appealing at all times. And it would suck to have an amazing content, amazing site, maybe an amazing product or service that someone could really use. But just because your social media isn't visually appealing enough, you're missing out on reaching a lot of people who actually would be interested. So don't do that. Have a designer. You definitely want to remember that social media is a paid ad game at this point. There are so many companies dumping millions of dollars with huge budgets into paid advertising. You're not going to beat them. Like, unless you also have a multi-million-dollar budget, it's going to get very expensive very fast. Now, a strategy that I found was really successful is working with micro-influencers. So I'll tell you the story. Some of my first clients ever, when I was at school in Dallas, Texas, there was this couple that has a boutique brand of cordless lamps. And so if you know anything about the furniture industry, it's extremely competitive, and you have to pay a lot of money to get properly advertised in the magazines, before the trade shows, all that. And they came to me and they were like, well, our marketing budget is $0. And I was like, okay, awesome. So what I did was, we had a few shows coming up around the country, different cities, and they said, we need to get our product out there, but we can't pay for these magazine features for thousands of dollars. And so I reached out to the micro-influencers in those cities that we were going to be in. And, they are people, designers, home decorators with 20 to 30,000 followers. Not too crazy. And I just reached out to 15-ish of them, and I said, hey, we're this new product. We'd love to do a collaboration. Let us know what your deal is. To my surprise, all of them were willing to collaborate for a product or for free. It was amazing, and it was really helpful for us, because here's the thing with the niche influencers is they don't have, 5 million ghost followers who are just scrolling through their feed. People who follow them are actually really interested in them. They're very niche. They're very focused. And so if they like something, if they're interested in your product and they're like, oh my gosh, this is amazing, their followers are going to be the same way. And sure enough, some of our best sales came from those collaborations, because people were willing to buy right away. They saw their influencer love this product, this style icon of theirs who's local and personal to them, and they wanted it too. And so we even set up discount codes. I was going to show you a couple different, that's the lamp company, and that's the influencer that we used. One of them, she was amazing. We set up discount codes for all of our micro influencers to broadcast out to their followers, like as an exclusive thing. And so it really did well for us, and we paid nothing for it. That's the thing with the smaller campaigns, is you can actually kind of focus more on people who are actually going to buy and get them for $0 without paying, I don't know, $200 a week for a Facebook ad for a broader audience that you're going to be competing with huge furniture companies for. In this case, we couldn't do that. Another great thing about the niche realm is that for a lot of the top influencers, actually, I found this out with this, is that they're looking at some of the smaller blogs and smaller websites to see what's up and coming. So if you can get featured on 10 to 15 niche, micro influencer sites, it's going to get to the point where one of those big blogs or websites or publications, whatever it may be, picks you up, because they're seeing you pop up where they get their inspiration from, and kind of, they want to be the ones to bring the new hot thing to market. And that happened with us here, is that they did get publishing from bigger publications because of being featured in more micro influencer campaigns. So definitely something to keep in mind, because that's kind of how the train of social moves. You have the big trendsetters, but where are the trendsetters looking? And a lot of the times it is the micro influencers. So social media is more than marketing as well. It definitely has more value than just blasting yourself all over the internet in different ad forms. You could also use it as a two-way conversation to get really valuable customer data that will help you make really good long-term decisions. So you can use social media to gauge reactions and test content ideas. So I'll tell you one of my little secrets. I have a pretty, like a little decent following on Quora. And Quora is just a question and answer site. So I started writing answers on there, and I just sort of amassed this following people who are interested in my remote work life and how I travel and work with startups and things like that. And so what I started doing was looking through my answers. I would give myself a quota of, say, I don't know, 10 answers a week. And I would go back at the end of the week and look into my answers and see, okay, which one of these answers did the best? How many likes did it get? How many views did it get? And so I would take those top answers and convert them into blog posts for my website, because I knew that there were people interested in these topics I was writing on, and this is what they wanted to hear from me. They told me in their likes and their follows and their views. I just gave them more of it on my website. And I went back and I linked my website's blogs to those answers. And sure enough, I have not touched my Quora in probably 2 weeks, and I still am getting 8,000 views a month just for my Quora answers. There's one blog post that's bringing in 8,000 a month just sitting there. It's amazing because Quora does the work for me. They have a relationship with Google, I think, and so some of their Quora answers actually rank when you type in certain keywords on Google. So it's a really good way to kind of get yourself ranked in terms of an expert on a certain topic, because you're constantly pumping out content that someone else is doing the work to promote. It's really helpful. And then you can gauge content for your own site and build something really valuable that people actually want to listen to, rather than guessing, I think this would be a cool article. You know, a lot of people are interested in hearing about you write about this. And so that was really helpful for me. So you can also use social media to literally directly ask questions of your customers. I worked with a tech company in the past who wanted to build some new features. And so they literally just posted on Facebook, what are your biggest pain points for X, Y, and Z? People will literally give you answers. It's pretty crazy how much information you can get off of just social media in terms of what direction to take creative decisions within your company. So definitely using it as more of a two-way conversation method is a great way to utilize it. And once people do see that you are more responsive and less of like an advertising sort of company on social media, the more likely they are to want to engage with you. And finally, it is so important to take the road less traveled. We all know that there are the main social media platforms that everyone needs to be on. Let's say LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook. Everyone has those. And that's great. That's totally fine. You should definitely have a presence where people expect you to be. It would suck for someone to type you in on Facebook and you not show up. Of course, people want to see you there. But there is so much value in looking at the smaller niche upcoming sort of social platforms and taking advantage of making a presence there before they get big. So I'm writing a book with someone named Gordon Miller, and he is a VC. And so he jumped on Quora way before it was popular. And he has now amassed 110,000 followers, I think. And it's been amazing. He's had thousands of submissions to his VC firm from all around the world with people wanting to work with him just from his Quora account. And just because he rode that wave of sort of becoming the expert in his field on Quora. The same thing happened with Medium. Medium is a blogging platform that was created by the creators of Twitter. I remember when it was first launched, and there were definitely probably 5 to 10 writers that just started writing on there very casually and just took off as the platform took off. And I want to make another point about Medium here. Medium is awesome because it's like a separate blogging platform where you can have a profile for all your content, and you can import the content from your current blog or website, and you will not be docked SEO-wise with Google because the original link remains with your website. So you can import as much content as you want onto your Medium account and use Medium to reach out to different groups and publications and influencers, or get a new following over there, and it doesn't affect your SEO at all. You can keep content in 2 places. It's like cheating. It's amazing. Also, Pinterest has another secret world not secret, but there are unexpected niches on platforms that we don't necessarily think about. So for me personally, I write about travel all the time. And I did not know that there were tons of forums that I could put my travel blogs on Reddit. And I've gotten a ton of traffic to my website just through that as well. With Pinterest, there's actually a huge wave of self-development, mental health, mental toughness and fitness kind of world going on in Pinterest that is really kind of under it. You don't think about it. You think of Pinterest, you think of house, you think of clothes, fashion, and I don't know, baking. I don't necessarily think about, the other niches within Pinterest, but if you actually kind of analyze it, Pinterest is people just building out their dream life. They're planning their dream wedding. They're planning their dream cocktail party, their dream house, their dream closet. Now they're also planning their dream body, their dream mindset. I actually personally have a personal vision board on Pinterest where I've just pinned things that I want, places I want to go, representations of things that I want in my life, things like that. So people are definitely doing that. That's what Pinterest kind of is. It's like a vision board for your life. So if you provide services in fitness or coaching or whatever realm it may be, you can create content on Pinterest and show people that you are the solution to the dream board that they're creating. And they're so much more likely to reach out to you. And if they can find your site for someone who can make this dream reality. So Pinterest is a really interesting resource for individuals who offer services like that. I would definitely look into it if you haven't yet. I definitely would